Welcome back to Animal Crossing New Horizons. I'm Dear Darling, and shall we see what's going on our wonderful island of Fawnhollow today? As you know, talked about it yesterday. Of course, I got my second dose of the COVID vaccine yesterday, and as the fact that I'm recording this video and I'm here, I'm perfectly fine. Actually, I've not been hit by like a wave of illness or anything yet. My left arm is kind of like achy sore, but it's not as achy sore as it was from my first vaccine. So I don't know. Maybe I'm strong now from it. Who knows? Or I just got lucky and my immune system is just dealing with it well. Or maybe I'll be hit by a wave of illness later on. I don't know, but we'll see how that pans out. But anyway, hello everyone. Right now in Fawnhallow, it's 2:25 PM on Friday, July 30th, 2021. Really isn't any news to speak of today. We don't really have anything to do on today in Animal Crossing, do we? No, we need to move Apollo's house. I think that's the only thing. So sorry, Apollo, you just moved in. Gotta move your house, like immediately. You don't blame me. Blame Tom Nook for not allowing me to move like building sites for some unfathomable reason when you haven't moved in. So yeah, please write up your complaints to the Fawnhollow Resident Services Centre rather than to me. I'm not a mayor. I'm only the island representative, whatever that means. Dear, I've been thinking we could take our friendship to the next level if we had a shared interest. You know I have a weak spot for handicrafts. This gift is my best attempt to convert you to my craft-happy ways, covered in glue, Lily. You know what? That sounds like a lovely time, Lily. Why don't you teach me all about handicrafts or that sort of thing? We can have a handicrafting sort of party going on. I'm not much of a handicraft sort of person. Well, yeah. I mean, I'd love to like take up like maybe like knitting or something. That sounds like a fun time. But you know, I'd also like to take up like 50 million other hobbies, which you know you can only pick and choose how much. Hello, Apollo. Hey, it's you. Let's chat. You know I'm always seeing you run around here willy-nilly. Be careful you don't slip and fall. You've been here like half a day, Apollo. I guess not true, like one day. Yeah, I don't really do much handicrafts. Like I think I talked about this before. I used to know how to knit when I was much younger. My mother taught me, but I don't remember it anymore. But the memory's sort of gone. You like make loops and then you transfer it from one needle to the other as you wrap like the wool around, and then you like do this sort of motion. You can't see the motion I'm doing. I don't know why I demonstrated for you. And you just go back and forth like that. I don't quite remember, obviously, but I can knit. Well, theoretically, I could only do like a basic knit to make like a huge patch or something. So I could knit like a very long scarf, I suppose. But that's about all I could do. But it seems like something fun to get. Like we sort of like handicrafts and arts and craftsy style of hobbies that look like we're really fun to get into. Embroidering, crocheting. Would I get into those? Maybe, I don't know. One thing I feel like I think I mentioned this before. If I were to take up a handicraft, I'd absolutely take up like plushie making, because you know me, I love my plushies. What about like you know making my own plushies and designing the. It's not called schematics. What are they called for arts and crafts? The blueprints? That's not right. You know, like this is like a Google question. Handicraft blueprint? Are they just called blueprints? Handicraft blueprint crafts. Maybe they're just called blueprint. I guess they're just called blueprints. For some reason I thought blueprints only apply to like mechanical objects. Also craft, sell, hot item, customize, to like mechanical creations, that sort of thing. But clearly that's not the case. I guess that's just my own bias of what I associate them with. I feel like I haven't spoken to Raymond for a while, but apparently I have. Yeah, wouldn't it be super fun, like crafting your own plushies and that sort of thing? If I love my plushies, why not like you know design my own? Start off simple, just make little blobby things, and then you know expand out my horizons once I've figured out exactly how things work and that sort of thing. And from there, I can be like, wow, look at this. You want a plushie? Here's a plushie. Maybe I can make my own personal deer plushie or that sort of thing. You know, that sounds like a whale of a time. And you know, if ever the time comes around where I can somehow organise my time better, so I can actually somehow afford the time sink to pick up another hobby. There you go. It's just the cruel fate of life is there's a million hobbies that I'd love to try, but you know I don't have time to really invest myself in all of them. You can only get surface level stuff done, and then perhaps and delve deeper into a few of them. And I've already got you know my video games, I suppose to a certain aspect my YouTube stuff, but I don't know really if that's really a hobby. That's sort of just me playing video games, but now I'm just recording myself doing it, so it feels a bit different in this case. And you know drawing, so you know, and programming I guess. So you know I've only got a select amount of time on planet Earth, but that's fine. You know that's just how it is. there's no two ways about it apart from organising your time better, I suppose, or spending less time on things. But you know, it's just difficult. But I love to do that sort of thing. So sewing and tailoring. That sounds. I mean, I suppose that sort of goes hand in hand with plushie crafting, because that's kind of what you need to do as well. You need to know about sewing. I do know kind of about sewing. You know, top stitch, back stitch, running stitch, blanket stitch. Is that a thing? That sounds like a thing. I have no idea how to do that one, mind you. And I did know how to use a sewing machine. I'm not sure if I could still use it safely, but I'm probably sure if I looked it up, I could probably do it again. And I can do some basic stitching, basic like tailoring, and that sort of thing. Nothing too fancy, mind you. You know, very, very basic. Like if maybe like I got a hole in my clothing or something, I could stitch it back up. And that's about it. But I think that'd be a cool thing to like figure out how to do even better. You know, it's. Well, I don't know, maybe you're sitting there being like, these don't sound like fun hobbies at all. You know, that's kind of fair enough. That's kind of how hobbies are. They all appeal to each person, I suppose, differently. Personally, depending on what your interests are and what you're excited to try and find out about. And to me, I suppose this creational aspect tying in with plushies being things I already like in the first place, it's got a certain je ne sais quoi, you know? Certain sort of appeal, which I'm interested in. So maybe, you know, that'd be something I look into. I don't know. I don't know. What other handicrafts are there? There's origami. I actually know how to do a bit of origami. I can't remember most of it now because I haven't done it in years. But I know the one thing which is permanently imprinted into my brain is how to make a jumping frog origami. And you might ask, hey, why do you know how to make a jumping frog origami? Well, that's actually an interesting story. It's not It's not interesting, at least. It's not like I just looked it up on the internet and just learned how to do it. But no, I was with some family friends, I think. That sounds about right. Some family friends, and we went to like a trip to. It was like a racehorse track or something. You know, the thing where people place like bets on like jockeys going around a track or something. I was very young. I think I must have been like around 10ish, maybe younger. So of course I know I can't legally bet. I don't even think my parents bet that much. Maybe my dad like bet on something first about it. But you know, we're not gamblers and that sort of thing. And I don't even know why we went. I guess it was just more like a one-off experience. We'd never been again. But of course, being a child, the races weren't particularly interesting to me. I have no investment in them, and especially if I don't have any money invested in them. I don't even have some financial investment. How many times can I say the word investment? That many times, apparently. But with it, there was like these sort of lounge like areas around the place where you could go to, where people had like stalls set up where you could do things, or sort of do. I say do things. Most of them weren't really. I think most of them were just sort of like smoking and chatting areas. But there's one. Oh, you're ill, Audie. Let's go get you some medicine. There was one older Japanese man. I don't know his age. I remember him somewhere being. It looks like he was in his 50s to 60s maybe. Ah, CJ, hello. You are a guest for today. And I remember he set up a stall, and he basically taught people how to do origami. Oh, well, I say teach you how to do origami, he only taught you how to do one thing, is origami frog. And me being like a kid, sort of just walking around being like, I have nothing to do, I was like, this is really cool. So I sat down, and he taught me how to do the origami frog. And then I basically just sort of sat there for like the rest of the time we were there, just like sitting by the stall. He didn't need to teach me, obviously, how to do any more origami frogs. So I don't even know how many different types of origami he knew how to do, but we'll get into that in a bit. But he basically, every time, like, people learn how to do a frog, and then they'd, like, go thank you, and they'd leave. And, you know, maybe I'd leave, or maybe I'll come back in a little while. And I sort of just, like, sat by my side, and he knew he already taught me, so he didn't need to involve me. Presumably, either that, or he was just like, what's this random kid doing here? Get rid of her. Please let her... Please just someone, a parent, I'm not a babysitter, which is fair enough. Maybe that's internally what he was thinking. But, you know, I just sort of sat there. I tried to be as helpful as I could, you know. When people came, they were struggling with the steps, I'd like show them how to do it as well, because I learned how to do it. And, you know, and because I did it so many times, I probably made so many different frogs now. But it was like, I was really proud of this one piece of origami, and so then I brought it to school, and I was like, hey, look what I can do, and I made this origami frog, and everyone was like, oh, make me one. And I was like, okay, I'll make you one. And then, you know, it just became the sort of thing I did for a while. Whenever I'm bored, it's happened a lot. Like whenever in your like those really relaxed classes, and sometimes I did this in university, in lectures which were like not actual educational lectures, or just like random talking things. like one of them we had was like a specification overview of that sort of thing. I just like took some of my paper, just made like an origami frog, and then like people next to me be like, wait, what's that? It's like, do you want it? Here you go. You can use it to jump about. And you know, it's just stayed in my memory this entire time. And so if you ever want to be like, hey, you want to bust out an origami frog, I'll be like, heck yeah, I can do that. Check me out. And then, you know, I'll bust it out. And you'll be like, whoa, can you do anything else? And I'll be like, nope, can't remember anything else off the top of my head. But origami frog is always going to stay in my memory. And you might be like, hey, how do you do an origami frog? Why don't I describe it to you using audio descriptions? Because I'm sure this can go well. So you need to start off with a rectangular piece of paper with a ratio of 2 to 1. Like, so it needs to be twice as wide as it is high. Fold it in half. So you basically have a folded in half square shape. And unfold it. Then what do? What the heck's those noises? Oh, it's very windy outside. I just noticed. It's probably just the door slamming shut. So then you unfold it, so you've got basically a book shape. And then what you need to do is you need to grab the two. If you're actually following one and you actually manage to make a frog, please do tell me, because that's amazing. You grab the two edges, the two out very like left and right outside edges, presuming you've got the rectangle horizontal, and then fold them into the crease in the middle. So you're basically making creases at the quarter marks, you know, across the page. And you unfold them, and then, you know, imagine your rectangle is in two squares. You know, the left square and the right square, you know, being divided by that middle crease. And what you want to do is you take the left square, or you want to do the same thing on both sides, is you basically want to fold those squares diagonally. So you bring the bottom left corner of your left square up to the top right corner of your left square, aka the middle part, and make it into a triangle. Do the same on the other side, so you just make another triangle. Unfold them and do it the other way. So now you should have one rectangular piece divided basically into two squares with like a star, four lines going, no, not four, 3 lines going across it, making like an asterisk shape in the folds. Okay, is that right? Hold on, I'm just trying to imagine it myself now. That sounds about right. I think maybe actually when you fold the quarter folds, you meant to fold them backwards the other way compared to the half fold, but it doesn't really matter. Now this is going to be the difficult part, especially if you haven't done origami before. But you're going to have to do like an accordion style fold. A butter churn and a half. I think butter churn is the easiest out of those, if I recall. So what you're going to basically have to do is fold. You want to fold along the quarter fold as you tuck in the sides of the paper. I don't know how to describe this. Okay, I'm trying to think how to describe this properly. This requires wood. Iron ingots. That surprised me. I'm trying to think how to describe this. This is going to be so difficult to describe. You have to. Ooh, that could be a recipe. We should shoot this down. Okay, so what you're aiming to get is basically a triangle shape, which is a quarter of the size of one of your halves, or one of your square sizes. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to take the outside edge and fold it into the middle, but as you do that, instead of it just being a regular fold, you want to tuck in the two sides. So if you imagine your square is divided up into 4 triangles by the X shape, you want the left triangle and the right triangle to be on top of each other, but you want the top triangle and the bottom triangle to be folded in half and tucked inwards underneath the left triangle as you fold over onto the right triangle. Does that make sense? Probably not, but if you manage to put it off, do the same thing on the other side. So you should end up with like a square with like 2 accordion-like folds in the middle. Okay, then from there, what do you do from there? Hold on, I need to think about it. I don't know why I didn't put this away. You need to. Okay, now you've got the accordion folds. You need. It's actually really hard to describe audially. Audially, it turns out. Who knew? Digital scale, coconut juice. So I can't describe and also think about what I'm putting away at the same time. I had to actually do this separately. You have to take these broken wings. No, take... Okay, so you have a square and it's basically got like an open bit in the middle. It's like not a connected square with the 2 accordion sides, triangles. Now each of the 2 accordion triangles, what am I doing? I'm into craft. Have like are made up of 2 triangular flaps with a triangle that's on top. What you want to do is fold them back up to the left and to the left and right corners, presuming you got it in a diamond shape, to make another mini diamond shape on top. You're basically folding the triangle. Like, imagine you got your left side of a triangle and you're basically dividing it into 4 and folding the 2 sub-triangles on top of the 2 of the other sub-triangles to make a diamond shape on top of a diamond shape. And then do that on the other side, so you have 2 diamonds on top of a big diamond, basically. Flip it over and then rotate it so the 2 diamonds are sitting like vertically from each other. Fold the thing in half. Fold only the big diamond in half and unfold it, and then take the 2 bottom edges of a diamond and fold them up to the middle crease, and do the same on the other side. So you basically have like an ice cream cone shape, I suppose, with the 2 diamonds underneath. You're almost there. Now take the top part of that diamond and fold it down over the along the sort of naturally formed crease from the ice cream cone shape. This doesn't make any sense. And then tuck those ice cream cone shapes into the little like slots from the top part of that diamond, just to secure it in place. Flip it back over, and you got your 2 diamond shapes. You want to take the flaps of the diamond shapes and then fold them in half again, basically. There's no better way to describe it. You take the base of a triangle and fold it onto one of the edges, the edge it allows you to fold it onto. And do that same for all 4 pieces of the small diamonds, and then you got the 4 legs. And then final step, take the bottom half, but now you're looking at your frog, you're basically looking at it from the bottom, and it's got like its legs up at you. You take the bottom half of a frog, fold it up, no, bottom third of a frog, fold it up, and then take about half of that third you folded up and fold it back down again to make it like a zigzag shape, and then flip it over. There you go, you got your frog. And if you press on the back, you can sort of make it jump. If you follow the instructions perfectly correctly and actually understood what I was saying. If you actually managed to follow that along, that's incredible, because I think that was incredibly difficult to describe and poorly described by me. But props to you, I just spent about 15 minutes or something describing to you how to make an origami frog. Not well, mind you, not well. But if that isn't proof of I remember how to make an origami frog, I don't know what else could be. It's solidly stuck in my memory and forever will be there. Thanks to that elderly Japanese man. Well, I assumed he was Japanese, I don't actually know. I mean, origami is a Japanese art form, after all, so I feel like it's a reasonable assumption, but I don't actually know. It's been stuck in my memory ever since. I like to think he's probably happy about that, you know? Sorry, let me have a sip of water. He was there to share in his craft and, you know, give his information on to future generations, I suppose, or who else would want to listen. And here I am. I know it exactly off by heart, and probably will remember it until the day I die, maybe. I remember, I mentioned before, I didn't know if he could make anything else origami. He probably could, because I remember there was this other girl, he came down and sat down, was like, oh no, and he started to teach everyone how to make this origami frog, and she was like, oh no, I already know how to make this origami frog last time, can you teach me something else? I mean, he didn't really teach her something else, but he just made like an origami, I can't remember what it was, I think it was like an origami like Eastern dragon sort of thing, and it was like really cool. He didn't make that for me, I will be honest. No, you know what he did? He didn't make an origami, he made like, he like folded up a piece of paper a load of times, got some scissors, and then cut out some patterns and shapes so it unfolded in this really cool way. Which isn't really origami, I suppose, because origamis, I don't think you can use scissors. I think you have to use paper and just folding only. But I can't quite, I don't know if that's true or not, so don't quote me on it. But he never did that for me. So it makes me think I was probably just annoying him when I was sitting at store the entire time, and rather than being like a little helping elf, I suppose, like Santa's little elf. Which is a shame, but you know, I was quite young, to be fair, so I don't know what you expect of me. I thought I was being helpful. I mean, I helped out with people, I like to think. Or maybe my memory of it is just a lot worse And I thought, but yeah, I mean, from that point onwards, I was like, oh, origami's pretty cool. So I learned some other things. I learned how to make like a flower basket. I learned how to make like a little fox. Some other things like a cat and a dog. Like I learned how to make these like, oh, but there's this really convenient one which I learned how to make was like these like little holder things, because they were very simple to make, and you know, in any case that you were just like, oh, I need like a really quick thing to hold this small thing, you could just grab a piece of paper and you can just make it. I think what they were originally used for was meant to be like rice scoopers or something, but you know, obviously I didn't use them for that because we have our own rice scooper, I suppose, so it's just a plastic container, a little like plastic cup, I suppose. But yeah, that was pretty useful. Like a flower basket, I think I've already mentioned that. I did some other stuff. I remember once I made like a super mega origami frog. Like I can't remember how many pieces of like A4 paper, but I like taped it all together, and I remember it like took up the entire like floor of our living room. And I made like a giant origami frog out of it, and it must have been like this big. It's probably about 1/2 meter by 1/2 meter. It was insanely big. I don't know what I did with it. I also did a thing where I made like an origami frog every single day for a while. So I ended up with like 50 origami frogs, and I kept them all in this little this bag. I don't know what happened to it. Obviously, it's probably been thrown away by now, or hopefully recycled if anything. But it was like I don't know why I did that. You know, one thing I should do is I hear about this. I think it must be a Japanese thing where you can make like these little paper stars, or maybe it's paper cranes. Maybe it's both. And you're meant to do that like every time you like make. Oh no, I'm conflating two different things. Oh, the Japanese thing is you make like a little paper. If you make 1,000 paper cranes, the theory is that they'll grant you one wish. So it's a really common thing, I believe, for like kids in hospitals or something to do it. Or they said it's the only context I've seen it in, which is quite a depressing context. But still, that's what I've seen them in. And they'll like fill up these little like jars full of them. Oh my word. Let me just check that door's okay. It's all good, don't you worry. It turns out there's a window just slamming open and closed because it's so windy over here. Nothing to worry about. What was I doing this wise? What was I talking about? I was talking about origami, wasn't I? Yeah, do I have anything else to say about origami? Probably, but I can't think of things. It's just like a fun little pastime, you know? And the best thing I think about origami is how simple it is just to like pick up and do. It's like, you know, probably, okay, maybe not the least expensive hobby, but certainly one of the least like cheapest hobbies out there. You just need a piece of paper, and then also I guess a tutorial. And I suppose if you want, you could just buy like an origami book, probably it's filled with like 500 different types of origami. And if you got pieces of paper, you can just do them. Like I know there's like specific origami pieces of papers you can buy, and often ones are coloured on one side and white on the other, so it gives a nice sort of contrast as you fold things over. And they're all like made into squares already, but you don't have to use those. Like whenever I did my origami, I just made my own origami. You can easily make a square just by like folding over one corner to the other side, and boom, you got a square. So you know, it's easy to get into. You know, it's a very accessible sort of hobby. And part of me wishes I learned more origami so I can teach others like other things, but alas, I don't remember. Maybe that's something I'll try and get back into at some point. Or I won't. I don't know. I'm not beholden to that sort of thing. But it was fun when I did it. Plant tree. Oh, we need to get fish for CJ. I forgot. He's our visitor for today. Might as well while he's here. Yeah, I'm trying to remember. Oh, there's a origami water bomb. I also used to know how to make. You might say, how can you make a origami water bomb? It doesn't have to be a water bomb, but it was basically like a little container thing, which was you could use as a water bomb. But a lot of time we just inflated them up like to be filled with air, and then you can use it as like a sort of ball. But it turns out that it can actually hold water okayly. Like obviously you can't hold it forever, it's made out of paper, but you can hold it for long enough that you can actually just fill it up and then go outside and chuck it at someone if you really wanted. So you can have like I guess a biodegradable water balloon fight, kind of. I don't know. I suppose if you use different types of paper, it might be a lot easier depending on. I mean, I guess you could use like a waxy paper, but that doesn't make it so biodegradable anymore, does it? Maybe if you use a higher, what's it called? It's not DPI. What's that property of paper and like thickness per something gram? It escapes me right now, but a thick piece of paper probably could hold water a lot better. Nibblefish? Sure, nibblefish, why not? Just the first one I saw, which I had 3 of. So you can make that, but we often just use them as like a makeshift ball and be like, oh, we didn't bring a ball, but I got a piece of paper, bada bing, bada boom. I guess there's also that one that people always use for like finger football or whatever, where you like make the triangle thing. I don't know, we never played that. If we ever played like the table games we always played were like coin sucker. Even though it's not called coin soccer, it's called coin football, but I don't know, apparently I'm American now. But also, what else do we have? I had this game when we were winning where I used to like bounce a rubber between us and try and land it in a glue stick, and no one ever got it because it was so unbelievably difficult. I don't want your Sea Sports challenge, CJ. I want your love and I want your revenge. I just want flicks, collectibles and be friends from your friend. I don't know, this doesn't make any sense. I don't know, what other cool origami things are there? I guess paper crafts in general. There's this time I found like a load of paper craft, like not meshes, I guess might be the right word, which I printed out and then I used to make things like whatever they were. Like one of them was like a Ness, you know, from Earthbound or Super Smash Bros. Because most people probably haven't played Earthbound. I also have not played Earthbound, but I watched Chugga Conroy play it, and you know, apparently that was enough. But I made one of him out of like a paper craft. I made something else, but I don't remember what it was. Probably made a few things, which is not quite origami. Mainly because you had to use glue to actually get things together. I don't know, what would be a cool origami thing to learn how to make? A deer? Is there an origami deer I could learn how to make? Let's see. I mean, deer's obviously my motif, so gotta kind of lean into it. Origami reindeer. Not reindeer. If you're wondering what sort of breed of deer is, that's what. I should give deer an actual name instead of just calling her deer all the entire time. I mean, I guess I could give her one of my names, but I don't want to do that. She's a Sika deer. Where am I going? What am I doing? I immediately forgot what I was doing. I was going to hit some rocks and then I was going to sell these fruits. That's a nice sort of origami disc. But you see, some of these discs are like very complicated ones. I'm not sure if I can remember how to do that off the top of my head. But also, most of them are reindeers, I will say. I guess because antlers are a very notable part of deers. So people like to use. People like to see the antlers on them. Oh, a golden nugget. It's been a while since we've seen one of those. To give it that definitive deer shape. But some origami can get very complicated with so many tiny little intricate folds, which obviously is very impressive, no less, but it's just like, I wonder if I can do that. Maybe it's a bit too difficult for me, but maybe it's not, I don't know. It's neither here nor there. This one's quite nice, it doesn't have any. By Fabiana Sanapanya. Doesn't have any antlers on. That one's not even an origami deer. This looks like a rendering, I don't know. I guess it's just the aesthetic of it. I know, origami's pretty cool. What does origami mean? Gami is like paper, right? So that's what gami means. I don't know what ori means. See, my Japanese education went very well. Let's see. Wikipedia's probably got it. Well, this will be a nice little tidbit to learn in these final minutes. Origami. I should learn how to make a crane. I feel like that's the one that everyone knows. And it feels weird about the only thing I know how to make is a frog. Ori meaning folding and kami meaning paper. Okay, folding, that makes sense. Oh, why did I say no? What am I doing? What am I doing? One? Yeah, 1,000 origami cranes, here we go. 1,000 origami cranes, Sambazaru. Literally 1,000 cranes. Is a group of 1,000 paper cranes held together by strings. Let me just sell these things quickly. Ancient Japanese legend promises that anyone who folds 1,000 origami cranes will be granted a wish by the gods. Some stories believe one is granted happiness and eternal good luck instead of just one wish. such as long life or recovery from illness or injury, which is always the context I've seen it in. That's why 1,000 coins. This makes some popular gifts for special friends and family. Oh. Must all be made by one person. Wow. You don't really think about it, but 1,000 is a lot. Presuming you make one every 5 minutes, that's like, still. 5,000 divided by 60. What's that? 83 hours, which is, you know, like a bit over 3 days continuously of just making origami cranes. So that's a lot of effort. So if you've ever gone through that sort of effort before, props to you. And maybe I'll learn how to make an origami crane or something. I'm sure it can't be too difficult. But yeah, and I guess that's it. I didn't really talk about the second dose, but here we go. If you have been watching, thank you very much. This has been Animal Crossing New Horizons. I've been videodiaring. Likes, comments, subscription, shares are greatly appreciated. Join my videodiaring Discord. Follow me on Twitter down below. I hope we can see each other again. But for now, it's our farewell. So until next time, I'm not very central here, but oh well. Bye bye for now.